my name is Alan, and yeah, like last year, we're doing one for this year, looking back 100 years. I did one in 2024, looking back at 1924. We're going to go back from 2025 and look in 1925. So, yeah. Yeah, baby. Anyway. 1925. There's a lot of things that go on, blah, blah, blah. We're talking about different things. Oh, my goodness, yeah. Events worldwide, it says January the 1st. 1925, the Syrian Federation is officially dissolved, and the state of Aleppo and the state of Damascus have been replaced by the state of Syria. So I guess it was something similar to Italy before it became an official country, where you have small city-states and stuff, and it officially dissolves and becomes one, such as the Holy Roman Empire. Also, all those little fiefdoms merged together and became Germany. But yeah, I suppose that's how it was. Syrian Federation, which is officially known as the Federation of the Autonomous States of Syria, constituted on the 28th of June, 1922, and as we learned, it falls apart on January 1st, 1925. So it was all of 3 years. Well, not even 3, it's 2.5. By High Commissary Gorod. It comprised the states of Aleppo, Damascus, and of the Alawites, spanning the area of 119,000 to 120,000 kilometers squared. So yeah. January 3rd, 1925. Benito Mussolini makes a pivotal speech in the Italian Chamber of Deputies, which will be regarded by historians as the beginning of his dictatorship over Italy. Yeah, remember, Mussolini would be the head of Italy, and would run it part of the way through World War II, where he would finally be deposed of power. But it would be Mussolini's Italy as well as Hitler's Germany and Emperor Hirohito's Japan that made up the Axis powers of World War II. But yeah, January 5th, Nellie Taylor Ross becomes the first female governor for the state of Wyoming in the U.S. First female governor in the U.S., but the state she was governor of, Wyoming. 12 days later, Ma Ferguson becomes the first female governor for the state of Texas. January 25th, so we have a jump of 20 days here. Hjalmar Branting resigns as Prime Minister of Sweden because of ill health and is replaced by the Minister of Trade, Rickard Sandler. And then January the 27th until February the 1st, the 1925 serum run to Nome, known as the Great Race of Mercy, relays diphtheria antitoxin by sled dog across the U.S. territory of Alaska to combat an epidemic. I think that's where they also get the story of Balto from, if you've ever seen and heard the story. But yeah, it's based on a dog sled race. Can we open the window? Yeah, Nome, Alaska is just 2 degrees south of the Arctic Circle, so it's way up there. There's an outbreak and call for help. Several days after the last ship left port, there were a few children treated for what he first diagnosed as just sore throats or tonsillitis, initially dismissing the idea of diphtheria as a possibility. But, yeah, it would spread and it's like, uh-oh. Yeah, we have people dying. On January 22nd, Walt sends radio telegrams to all other major towns in Alaska, alerting them of the public health risk. He also requested assistance from U.S. Public Health Service in Washington. The epidemic of diphtheria is almost inevitable here. Stop. I am in urgent need of 1 million units of diphtheria antitoxin. Stop. Mail is only form of transportation. Stop. I have made application to Commissioner of Health of the territories for antitoxin already. Stop. There are about 3,000 white natives in the district. That's shameful. They're using a racial plea that, oh, it's not just Native Alaskans, it's white people too. Come on, dude. But what do you expect in the early 1900s? We're still under segregation and everything, so. But for those who are questioning about why the stop, that is a telegraph. As it said, he sent radio telegraphs. So yeah, whenever they wrote the old telegraphs, they would have to put in to notate where a period would be. And it would just be stop. So it's epidemic of diphtheria is almost inevitable here, period. But instead you say stop. But yeah. Okay, yeah. Previously made a run of the record-breaking 4 days, won the All-Alaska Sweepstakes 3 times, and had become famous for his athletic ability to rapport with his Siberian Huskies. His lead dog, 12-year-old Togo, was equally famous for his leadership, intelligence, and ability to sense danger. So yeah. Leonard Seppala is the guy who makes the trip and has his dogs on the dog sled. Um, they fly in some biplanes, but they can only go so far because when you get deeper into Alaska, it's just really hard to travel. It really is. So they do the dog sled relay. Uh, ba, ba, ba. Mail carriers held a revered position in the territories and were the best dog mushers in Alaska. The majority of the relay drivers across the interior were native Athabascans, direct descendants of the original dog mushers. First musher, Wild Bill Shannon, blah blah blah. So yeah, we're starting to see people. The deaths are getting more frequent. Yeah, Togo's the lead dog and is already famous and is making most of the trip here. Yeah. Um, Olson. They stuck close to the shore and Togo picked his way carefully until they were back on solid ground. So yeah, they're already having trouble. Seppala passed the serum to Charlie Olson on February 1st at 3 p.m. February 1st, the number of cases in Nome rose to 28. The serum en route was sufficient to treat 30 people. With powerful blizzard wind raging and winds of 80 miles per hour or 130 kilometers per hour, Welch ordered a stop on the relay until the storm passed. Olson was blown off trail and suffered severe frostbite in his hands while putting blankets on his dogs. The wind chill was negative 70 degrees Fahrenheit or negative 57 degrees Celsius. He arrived at Bluff at February 1st on 7 p.m. in poor condition. Gunner Cosson waited until 10 p.m. for the storm to break, but it only got worse and the drifts would soon block the trail, so he departed into a headwind. But yeah, Cosson with Baldo, the lead dog for the team he drove in the Serum run. So yeah, there's the famous dog itself, Baldo, Cosson traveled through the night and through drifts and over the river overflow over the 200-foot Topcock Mountain. Baldo led the team through visibility so poor that Cosson could not always see the dogs harnessed closest to the sled. So yeah, that's how bad the conditions were that they were traveling in. Again, this is by sled. You can only imagine trying to travel in something like a helicopter with the wind so bad and the downpour of snow so bad. Yeah, you're not gonna make it. Plane. And we're talking early ages of flight. So yeah, your only real options are ship or by land, usually dog sled. But yeah, the death toll from the diphtheria in Nome, Alaska is officially listed at either 5, 6, or 7. But Welch later estimated that there were probably at least 100 additional cases among the Eskimo camps outside the city. The natives have a habit of burying their children without reporting the death. 43 new cases were diagnosed in 1926, but were easily managed with a fresh supply of serum. But yeah, this is when the whole thing happens that brings about the story of Balto. Do they know what caused it? Working on a small Maynard Columbus hospital served the town and surrounding area. After discovering the hospital's entire batch of diphtheria antitoxin had expired, so they do not know. We just know there was an outbreak of diphtheria. Or at least they may know, but they don't list it here. But yeah, Togo's team, the first dog, actually covered the most dangerous parts of the route and ran the furthest for a total of 261 miles or 420 kilometers. But Baldo's team ran 55 miles or 89 kilometers. Baldo is usually the most well known because I think he's the one that shows up in Nome with all the stuff. But Togo leads most of the trip. Anyway, yeah, great serum run of 1925 to Nome, Alaska. So we go into February. February 25th, all the way down there. Art Gillum records for Columbia Records the first Western Electric Masters to be commercially released. Okay. February 28th, the 1925 Charlevoix-Kamouraska earthquake strikes northeastern North America. I've never heard of you. Charlevoix-Kamouraska. Northeastern North America. Okay, so probably French-speaking Canada. Yeah, areas affected Canada. 6.2. And was one of the most powerful earthquakes measured in Canada in the 20th century. Quake was felt in Quebec City, Shawinigan, and Montreal. In Canada, and as far south in the U.S. as Virginia, and as far west as the Mississippi River. So yeah, it was a pretty good earthquake. Interesting. Oh, I didn't want you to click on that. I wanted to click on the tab, please. Thank you. March the 1st of 1925, so we're in March. New York City Fire Department Rescue 2 is put in service in Brooklyn. March the 4th, Ismay İnönü is appointed Prime Minister in Turkey and is Turkey's fourth and İnönü's third government. So apparently he's been in government quite a bit. Turkish army officer and statesman who served as the second president of Turkey and as its prime minister 3 times. 23 to 24. Whoop. And this was 25, so 25 to 37, start of his second term as prime minister. Calvin Coolidge sworn in on the same date, March the 4th, 1925. Calvin Coolidge sworn in for a full term as President of the United States in the first inauguration to be broadcast on radio. Yep, this is when radio was the big thing. So this is the first presidential inauguration to be broadcast live on radio. And look at the date, March the 4th. The president's inaugurations were later in the year back then than they are now. Now, Trump will be inaugurated on the 20th. Well, he'll go into office on the 20th. I think the actual inauguration is on the 6th. Or it might be 20th. Anyway, it's earlier in the year is what I'm trying to get at. March the 6th, 1925. Pionerskaya Pravda, one of the oldest children's newspaper in Europe, is founded in the Soviet Union. Pionerskaya Pravda. The name may be translated as Truth for Young Pioneers. March the 9th through May the 1st, Pink's War. The British Royal Air Force bombards mountain strongholds of Massoud tribesmen in South Waziristan. So yeah, 1925, Britain still has a hold on India, and of course, it's saying here that the Masood is a Karlani Pashtun tribe inhabiting mostly South Waziristan Agency in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province in Pakistan. And if you know your geography, Pakistan and India are just right next to each other. They're neighbors. So yeah. March the 15th, the Phi Lambda Chi fraternity, original name the Aztecs, is founded on the campus of Arkansas State Teachers College in Conway, Arkansas. And Arkansas State Teachers College is the modern-day University of Central Arkansas. March the 16th, at 22:42 local time, that's 10:42 p.m., a 7.0 earthquake shakes the Chinese province of Yunnan, killing 5,000 people. Where is Yunnan? Inland province in southwestern China. So as you get closer to the Himalayas and India and stuff. Interesting. 5,000 people though. That's ouch. March the 18th. Tri-state tornado, the deadliest tornado in U.S. history, rampages through Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana, killing 695 people and injuring 2,027. It hits the towns of Murfreesboro, Illinois, West Frankfort, Illinois, Gorham, Illinois, Ellington, Missouri, and Griffin, Indiana. So yeah. March the 31st. The Bauhaus closes in Weimar and moves to a building in Dessau designed by Walter Gropius, not sure. Now we're in April to October. The Exposition Internationale des Arts Décoratifs et Industriels Modernes is held in Paris, giving a name to the Art Deco style. April the 1st, 1925, in the United States, Frank Heath and his horse Gypsy Queen leave Washington, D.C. to begin a 2-year journey to visit all 48 states. Remember, this is 1925. Alaska and Hawaii are not officially U.S. states. So yeah, 48. And the patent, the same date, the Patent and Trademark Offices transferred to the Department of Commerce. On April the 10th, F. Scott Fitzgerald publishes The Great Gatsby. April the 15th, Fritz Hardman, a serial killer convicted of the murder of 24 boys and young men, is guillotined in Germany. April the 16th, a communist assault on St. Nedelia Church claims roughly 150 lives in Sofia, Bulgaria. April the 19th, Colo Colo, a well-known football club of Chile, is founded in Macul, suburb of Santiago. April the 20th, Iranian forces of Reza Shah occupy Ahvaz and arrest Sheikh Khazal ibn Jabir. April the 28th, presenting the Stanley Baldwin government's budget, Chancellor of the Exchequer Winston Churchill announces Britain's return to the gold standard. So it goes off the gold standard at one point, but goes back on. So, Chancellor of the Exchequer, and then of course Winston Churchill in World War II would become Prime Minister. In May the 1st, the destruction of early Islamic heritage sites in Saudi Arabia. The al-Baqi mausoleums are destroyed by King Ibn Saud. On May the 1st, Barcelona SC founded in Ecuador. And on May the 1st, the All-China Federation of Trade Unions, the world's largest trade union organization, is founded in Guangzhou, Republic of China. May the 5th, the general election law is passed in Japan, extending suffrage to all males aged 25 and over. Yeah, remember, we're coming out of the age of the samurai and everything else. So it's like Japan's trying to modernize itself. And so they present this. And of course, by World War II, they're an economic powerhouse. May the 8th, 1925. African-American Tom Lee rescues 32 people from the sinking steamboat M.E. Norman and the Mississippi River. May the 16th, the first modern performance of Claudio Monteverdi's opera Ritorno de Ulisse in Patria 1639-40 takes place in Paris. Okay. In May the 29th, English explorer Percy Fawcett sends a last telegram to his wife before he disappears in the Amazon. Yeah, he's looking for the lost city of Z, or Z, in the Amazon. And he sends his final telegram to his wife before he disappears. June of 1925. June the 6th, the Chrysler Corporation is founded as an automobile manufacturer by Walter Percy Chrysler in the United States. Yep, Chrysler. They'll create a number of automobiles and they'll remain around. I think they're still around, but they changed their name. Anyway. June the 13th, American engineer Charles Francis Jenkins achieves the first synchronized transmission of pictures and sound using 48 lines and a mechanical system in the first demonstration of radio vision. So yeah. First synchronized transmission of pictures and sound. Remember, up to this point, it's only been radio, telegrams, newspapers. We're getting the first transmission of actual pictures and sound together. June the 14th, the Aristotle University of Thessaloniki in Greece is founded. Also on June the 14th, the Turkish football club Göztepe is founded. June the 29th, that's the 6.8 MW Santa Barbara earthquake affects the central coast of California with a maximum Mercalli intensity of 9 for violent, destroying much of downtown Santa Barbara, California, and leaving 13 people dead. July the 10th through 21st, the Scopes monkey trial. In a staged test case, also known as the monkey trial, in Dayton, Tennessee, U.S., John T. Scopes, a young high school science teacher technically arrested on May the 5th and indicted on May the 25th, is accused of assigning a reading from the state-mandated textbook on Darwinian evolution in violation of a Tennessee state law known as the Butler Act. He is found guilty and fined $100. Remember, that's quite a bit back then. Though the verdict is later overturned on a technicality. The trial makes explicit the fundamentalist modernist controversy within the Presbyterian Church of the U.S. with William Jennings Bryan, who would die days after this is over, being challenged by the liberal attorney Clarence Darrow. So yeah. It's basically showing how science and religion conflicted, even though today they're trying to push us back into that time. Goddamn morons. July the 10th, Meher Baba begins his 44-year silence. He was an Indian spiritual master who said he was the avatar or God in human form of the age. So yeah, 44 years of silence. July the 18th, 1925, Adolf Hitler publishes Volume 1 of his personal manifesto, Mein Kampf, in Germany. July the 21st, English racing motorist Malcolm Campbell becomes the first man to exceed 150 miles per hour or 241 kilometers an hour on land when at Pendine Sands in Wales he drives a Sunbeam 350 horsepower automobile at a two-way average speed of 150.33 miles per hour or 242 kilometers an hour. July the 25th, 1925, the Telegraph Agency of the Soviet Union is established, and the Temporary Slavery Commission of the League of Nations filed their report on their global investigation of slavery and slave trade, preparing the ground for the introduction of the 1926 Slavery Convention. August of 1925. August the 1st. The new Cape Central Railway between Worcester and Voorby is incorporated into the South African Railways. August the 8th. The Ku Klux Klan, KKK, largest fraternal racist organization in the United States, demonstrates its popularity by holding a parade with an estimated 30 to 35,000 marchers in Washington, D.C. Yeah, ain't it funny how things, as much as they change, seem to stay the same? 1925, KKK's just marching through the streets. 2025, neo-Nazis are fucking everywhere. August the 14th, the original Hetchy Moccasin Powerhouse in California is completed and goes online. August the 25th, the French complete their evacuation of the Ruhr region of Germany. August the 31st, anthropologist Margaret Mead lands in American Samoa to begin the 9 months of fieldwork that will culminate in her 1928 book, Coming of Age in Samoa. The best-selling book will become the first popular anthropological study and will change many attitudes towards tribal peoples. In September 1925, September the 3rd, the U.S. Navy dirigible Shenandoah breaks up in a squall line near Caldwell, Ohio, killing 14 crewmen. Remember, we still have the dirigibles. You know, this is still the early days of plane, but the dirigibles still exist. The giant blimps. So, yeah. September the 27th, Feast of the Cross, according to the old calendar. A celestial cross appears over Athens, Greece, while the Greek police pursues a group of Greek old calendarists. The phenomenon lasts for half an hour. October of 1925. In October, the major money forgery and fraud of Alves dos Reis is exposed in Portugal. October the 1st. Mount Rushmore National Memorial is dedicated in South Dakota. October the 2nd, in London, UK, John Logie Baird successfully transmits the first television pictures with a grayscale image. October the 4th, S2, a Finnish Sokol-class torpedo boat, is sunk during a fierce storm near the coast of Pori in the Gulf of Bothnia, taking with her the whole crew of 53. So it's the Gulf between Finland and Sweden. So yeah. October the 5th through the 16th. The Locarno treaties are negotiated. And those are 7 post-World War I agreements negotiated amongst Germany, France, Britain, Belgium, Italy, Poland, and Czechoslovakia in late 1925. So they're still doing treaties following World War I because of how devastating it was, but they don't realize around the corner World War II is a-coming. October the 8th, 1925, Cubana de Aviación is founded. November 1925, November the 9th, formal foundation date of the Schutzstaffel as a personal bodyguard for Adolf Hitler in Germany. So he's not yet Chancellor. He's just, yeah. I don't even know if he's part of the Nazis yet, because they're a party unto their own before he even becomes a part of them. November the 14th, 1925, the Australian federal election. Stanley Bruce's Nationalist Country Coalition government is re-elected and with an increased majority, defeating the Labour Party led by Matthew Charlton. Also on November the 14th, the first Surrealist art expedition opens in Paris. November the 17th, 1925, the New Zealand and South Seas International Exhibition, a World's Fair, opens in Dunedin, New Zealand. I probably butchered the name there. November the 24th, the silent film El Hussar de la Muerte is released in Santiago, Chile. House of the Dead, I think is what it is. El Hussar de la Muerte. It may be something else of the dead, but because I'm not sure what Hussar is. No, they're Spanish. Chile is. Because I'm trying to remember about the Treaty of Tordesillas. There's a number of Portuguese, which is different, although similar to Spanish. And then on the western edge of South America is Spanish speaking. Anyway, November the 26th, Prajadhipok Rama the Seventh is crowned as King of Siam. Siam is that southeastern corner of Asia where there are countries like Laos and Vietnam and yeah, monarchy of Thailand. But yeah, it's a lot of the countries in this little portion of Asia, Laos, Thailand, like I said, Vietnam, I think, I believe Cambodia, that little region right there, that I believe was Siam. So yeah. And on November the 28th, 1925, the weekly country music variety radio program, The Grand Ole Opry, is first broadcast on WSM Radio in Nashville, Tennessee as the WSM Barn Dance. So Grand Ole Opry is born. December of 1925, December the 1st, the Locarno Treaties are signed in London, intended to secure the post-war continental European territorial settlement. So yeah, again, we have the Locarno Treaties. They were working on them earlier in the year. Now they've got them signed, and it says, okay, territories are set. But of course, we know what's coming in 1939. December the 11th, Pope Pius the 11th's encyclical Quas Primus is on the feast of the Christ of the King is promulgated. Just an encyclopedia, I believe, circular letter sent to all the churches of a particular area in the ancient Roman Church. Okay, so it's just saying, oh, he is now, or this feast is now a thing, I guess. December the 12th, the first motel in the world, the Milestone Motel, later the Motel Inn of San Luis Obispo in California, opens in San Luis Obispo in California. December the 15th, Reza Shah takes the oath to become the first Shah of Persia of the Pahlavi dynasty. And December the 25th, 1925, Christmas Day, IG Farben is formed by the merger of 6 chemical companies in Germany. Its name being IG Farbenindustrie AG. It was formed from the merger of 6 chemical companies: AGFA, BASF, Bayer, Chemische Fabrik, Grisham Elektron, Hosch, and Weiler ter Meer. Now, we know still of BASF and Bayer. They're still around, still big players. Let's take a look at this in depth a little more. It was seized by the Allies after World War II and split into its constituent companies. Parts in East Germany were nationalized. Because remember, after World War II, the USSR takes over East Germany. Okay. Hoist is now Sanofi. Some of the companies do not exist anymore. That Chemische Fabrik Gresheim Elektron does not seem to exist. And the Weiler Tiermir does not seem to exist. But AGFA is still around, BASF, and Bayer, as I said, they're both still around. And apparently Hoist, which is now known as Sanofi. Okay. So I've heard of 3 of the 4 companies. I've never heard of AGFA. But the rest of them I've heard of. I've seen commercials for BASF and Bayer. That's why I know them so much. And I've seen commercials for Sanofi. Okay. Now, dates unknown in 1925. New York City becomes the largest city in the world, taking the lead from London. And of course, New York City's been since overpassed. Islamic Bektashi order lodges in Turkey are closed down by order of the country's president, Ataturk, and the leadership moves to Albania. Leon Feuchtonger's novel, Jude Sus, translated as Jusus or Power, is published in Germany. And Ernest Blythe, Minister of Finance in the Irish Free State, arranges an annual government subsidy of £850 for the Abbey Theatre in Dublin, making it the first state-supported theatre in the English-speaking world. We have births. January, Veiko Hakulinin, Maria Talchif. Sounds native, yep. Ignacio Lopez Tarso, Shafiq Wazan, Paul Newman, the actor, okay. Douglas Engelbart, Paul Bomani, Jean DeLorean, maker of the DeLorean, the car in Back to the Future. Gerald Burrell, Harry Stradling Jr., Lee Van Cleef, Peter Kolotka, Leonard Ruiz, Catherine McGregor, Rosemary Murphy, Gwen Verdon, Yukio Mishima, August Angus, Ruth Slingskaya, Shafika, Dwayne Hansen, Ernesto Cardinal, Barbara Carroll, Joan Leslie, Sufi Abu Taleb, Robert McCollum, Bernardino Rivera Alvarez, and Michelin Lanoy. Okay, let's just go with the notable pictures they have here. Elaine Stritch, Arn Alman, Jack Lemmon, Robert Altman, and Shehu Shagari. March, Leo Esaki and Pierre Boulez. April, Rod Steiger, Rob Hastings, Hugh O'Brien, Sib Gatula Mojadedi, and Solomon Perel. In May, Yogi Berra, Pol Pot, Malcolm X, and Bulent Esavit. June, Tony Curtis, Barbara Bush, Audie Murphy, June Lockhart, Giorgio Napolitano. July, Farley Granger, Patrice Lumumba, Jean Raspile, Merv Griffin, the producer of all those television game shows, Bill Haley and the Comets, gonna rock around the clock tonight, do do do do do do do. Yeah. Mahathir Mohammed, Anna Maria Matute, Mikis Theodorakis. I did July. That's who I just did, I think. Yeah. August. Jorge Rafael Videla, Elijah Izetbegovic, Oscar Peterson, Honor Blackman, Juanita Reina, Katina Ranieri. September, Andrea Camilleri, Peter Sellers, B.B. King, baby, one of the founders of rock. October, Simone Seguin, Marlon Kutsiev, Antoine Hizanga or Gizanga, I'm not sure, Margaret Thatcher, UK's Ronald Reagan, Again, meaning she wasn't that great, but she still gets remembered as if she was. Angela Lansbury. Yeah, great actress. Murder, She Wrote. Great show. Johnny Carson, Tonight Show host. Johnny Carson. And Warren Christopher. November, Richard Burton, another actor. Rock Hudson, another actor. Robert F. Kennedy, brother of JFK, who would run for president but served as Secretary of... Was he state under JFK? I can't remember, but yeah. Jose Napoleon Duarte, Marion Pittman Allen, and December, Julie Harris, Henri Aurelie, Shigeko Higashikuni, Sammy Davis Jr., Dick Van Dyke, and Milton Obote. Deaths. People who died in that year. February, we've got Hjalmar Branting and Friedrich Ebert. March, we have Sun Yat-sen and Lucille Rickson. April, we have Fritz Harman. May, we have William Massey and Lucien Guthrie. June, Thomas R. Marshall. July, oh no, also in June, Christian Mikkelsen. July, Pancho Villa. Not the Mexican Revolution Pancho Villa, but a Filipino professional boxer. So yeah, Pancho Villa, full name being Francisco Villarruel Guiedo. Also, we have Severo Fernandez. In August, Rene Viviani. October, Saint Anna Schaefer. Vajiravud. And Ladislav Hremont. I know I'm butchering some of these names. I have to be, just because there's so many pronunciations, different languages. December, Antonio Mora and Jules Melling. Nobel Prizes in Physics, James Franck and Gustav Ludwig Hertz. In Chemistry, Richard Adolf Zsigmondy. Physiology or Medicine, none awarded. Literature, George Bernard Shaw, who we still see quotes of a lot if you use Facebook. And Peace, Austin Chamberlain and Charles Gates Dawes. But yeah, that was events in 1925. Let's see, anything special we need to look at in the U.S.? Yeah, See, there is no Hawaii, there is no Alaska yet. There's only 48 states. We already have our 5. Oh, we got 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 occupied territories. Northern Mariana Islands, we don't have yet. Okay. President 1925, Calvin Coolidge comes into office. The Vice President would be Charles G. Dawes. Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court, William Howard Taft. Yes, that William Howard Taft, who had been U.S. President. He was also Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, which was more his thing. He was more about law stuff. He had studied law. Speaker of the House of Representatives until March the 4th, Frederick H. Gillette. Or Gillette. I'm not sure. Starting December the 7th of that year, we'd have a new Speaker of the House, Nicholas Longworth. Funny, we have 2 Republican speakers in one term here. This is just 1 year. Why is it Republicans can never get along? Their biggest enemy is themselves. It's not the Democrats. They fight amongst themselves like cats and dogs. Senate Majority Leader Charles Curtis. So yeah, an all-Republican-led Congress and presidency. Kind of like 2025 will be. So that's interesting. Governors, lieutenant governors. We could show, but we're not going to. Events. We talked about the serum run in Alaska. March the 2nd, 1925, in an appeal originating in the Prohibition-era bootlegging case Carroll v. United States, is decided by the Supreme Court affirming the motor vehicle exception that a warrantless search of an automobile does not contravene the Fourth Amendment subject to probable cause and exigent circumstances. So yeah, saying they can search your vehicle. Calvin Coolidge, like I said, he becomes president, and Charles Dawes as vice president. And his first inauguration on radio broadcast. March the 15th. We talked about that. The tri-state tornado. March the 21st. Tennessee Governor Austin Peay signs the Butler Act prohibiting the teaching of evolution in the state's public schools. This is where we'll see the arrest and everything of John T. Scopes, which will bring up the Scopes monkey trial later in the year. WOWO in Fort Wayne, Indiana begins broadcasting on March the 31st. April and June. April 18th, the University of Miami is chartered in Coral Gables, Florida. So yeah, there is a University of Miami in Coral Gables. May the 8th, African American Tom Lee rescues 32 people from the M.E. Norman, a steamboat sinking in the Mississippi. May the 25th, the National Forensic League is founded for the promotion of public speaking and debate in the U.S. June the 13th, Charles Francis Jenkins achieves the first, we talked about that. Okay, they're viewed by the representatives of the National Bureau of Standards, the U.S. Navy, and the Department of Commerce and others. June the 17th, First National Spelling Bee, held in Washington, D.C. First National. There might have been others local and stuff, but First National Spelling Bee. So yeah. June the 27th, the 6.6 Montana earthquake affects the central part of the state with a Mercalli intensity of 8, or severe, which is as high as it gets. Because the affected area is mostly rural, financial losses are limited to $150,000, though the damage is considered severe. Which, again, 1925, $150,000 is still a lot. June the 29th, through the 6.8 Santa Barbara earthquake we talked about. July through September. July 7th, the New York City Police Department Emergency Service Unit is created as the Emergency Automobile Squad. Automobiles were still fairly new, and of course in a city like New York, that's where you're going to want to do it. July 10th to 21st, the Scopes Monkey Trial, we talked about that. Let's go ahead and just add that as an extra link that I'll be posting. I'll post these extra ones I've opened up here. September the 1st through 30th, in the first year for which statewide data are reliable, this month with a statewide water equivalent of 7.54 inches remains Alaska's wettest calendar month on record. So September of 1925. Wettest calendar month on record for Alaska. 7.54 inches of rain. September the 3rd, U.S. Navy dirigible Shenandoah. We talked about that. October through December. October the 6th, Xavier University in Louisiana. America's first and only historically black Catholic university is founded in New Orleans, Louisiana. In 2000, it becomes the only Catholic university to have been founded by a saint. Another university's founder is canonized in 2006. So yeah. October the 15th. Early Major League Baseball news. The Pittsburgh Pirates defeat the Washington Senators 4-3 to win their second World Series title in baseball. November the 11th, the city of Chicago, Illinois renames Municipal Grant Park Stadium to Soldier Field in honor of the U.S. soldiers killed in combat during World War I. And Soldier Field is, of course, where the Chicago Bears still play. Congrats on them not being whiny shits and wanting new stadiums like other city team owners often do. November the 21st, Lava Beds National Monument is established in California. November the 28th, the weekly country music radio, we talked about the Grand Ole Opry. December the 12th, First Motel. December the 16th, Alpha Phi Omega, a national service fraternity, is founded at Lafayette College in Pennsylvania. And undated events in the U.S. Calvin College signs into law the act establishing the U.S. probation and pretrial services system. So, when people can be let out on probation before their trial, so. And the NFL adds 5 teams. The New York Giants, Detroit Panthers, Providence Steamroller, a new Canton Bulldogs team, and the Pottsville Maroons. Of course, the New York Giants are still around, but there's no longer Canton Bulldogs, no longer Pottsville Maroons, no longer Providence Steamrollers. Did the Detroit Panthers become the Lions? Four early teams before the Lions, so yeah, it wasn't the Lions themselves, but it was a Detroit team, so 4 teams in the NFL before the Lions even existed. There was the Panthers. Ongoing events, the Lochner era. So it had started around 1897, turn of the century, and would continue beyond 1920s. And it's officially known as a period in American legal history in which the Supreme Court of the U.S. is said to have made it a common practice to strike down economic regulations adopted by the state based on the court's own notions of the most appropriate means for the state. So it was being dumb fucks. Honestly, being dumb fucks. Regulations are necessary because we see what the fuck is going on without them. Yeah. U.S. occupation of Haiti. That would have started in 1915 and would continue until 1934. Prohibition had started in 1920 and would last until 1933. And, of course, 1925 was part of the Roaring Twenties, when there's a lot of stuff going on, music, fashion, and of course, that's the age of the speakeasy and all this amazing stuff. But, of course, 1929, it goes poof, when the Great Depression hits. Births in the U.S. January, Lee Van Cleef, Edgar A. Killen, Paul Newman, Douglas Engelbart. February, Elaine Stritch, Jack Lemmon, George Kennedy, Robert Altman. March of 1925, they don't show pictures. April, they don't show pictures. May of 1925, Scott Carpenter, Yogi Berra, Malcolm X. June of 1925, Tony Curtis, Barbara Bush, Audie Murphy, June Lockhart, Virginia Patton, and Clara Williams. Early actresses of stage and screen. Now remember, they didn't have television, but plays and movies were still a thing. They were very much a thing, so. July, Farley Granger, Merv Griffin, Bill Haley, and Gloria DeHaven. September, Hank Thompson, B.B. King, and Marty Robbins. Marty Robbins, a bit of a country legend. October, Art Buchwald, Johnny Carson, Warren Christopher. November, Jonathan Winters, the great Jonathan Winters. He does all these amazing voices. He's a great actor. If you've never seen him, check him out. I believe he starred in Mork and Mindy. He was also in the Scooby-Doo. I'm not sure which Scooby-Doo it is, but it had all the guest stars from the 70s and stuff showing up on the show. He showed up on it at times. Rock Hudson, Kay Ballard, Robert F. Kennedy. And December, Julie Harris, Sammy Davis Jr., Dick Van Dyke. Deaths in the U.S., 1925. Walter Camp. Now, March 14th of 1925. Williams Jennings Bryan. He ran for president a number of times, and of course, as I said, he was one of the lawyers in the Scopes Monkey trial. He died July 26th of 1925. But yeah, we'll go ahead and end this here. It's already been an hour-and-a-half video, but I always find these things interesting looking through history like this. Move you over. There we go. But I appreciate you if you stuck around with me that long. As always, educate thyself. Think, read, study, learn. Someone tells you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources, damn it! I'll be putting my sources in the description box below the video. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, later.